Well, welcome back. I'm Brian Keneally, and this is Tim Murphy, and this is the Gold Spot. Tim, I'm often asked about many things as it relates to the gold price, and I often say the same thing. Not much has changed. Gold is going higher, likely much, much higher, and it's due to central bank buying. It's not these skirmishes and these other things that cause fluctuation in the market, but are not the driving force behind it. I was doing some research and I looked at some of the buying habits of the central banks for 2010 through 2022, and they were averaging about 550 tons per year of buying. Since 23 and 4 now, it's doubled. It's over 1,000 tons per year. What are your thoughts on that?
It's significant. And I think in order to answer that, I have to go back 25 years. And a lot of people aren't aware, that this manipulation of prices, gold and silver, which most people are aware of today, but it actually started 25 years ago. The Bank of England and the United States sort of collaborated and they started to, they were dumping physical gold onto the market and driving the price down. And they were doing this because they wanted to create the illusion of a strong dollar, strong economy and so forth. And that morphed into present day JP Morgan and bank cronies selling the paper market and continuing to keep the prices of gold and silver down. In the meantime, in the process, China started to secretly buy gold 25 years ago, and they could see ahead what was going to happen with our dollar and where the United States was going, and they were concerned. So that morphed into other central banks in Asia, especially buying gold and silver. And the reason they were able to buy a lot of it, especially, is because by keeping the price down and manipulating the price lower, it allowed the countries to buy, the metal, pick it up on the cheap. And so what's happened over the years is that the supplies have been just sucked out of the inventories and demand keeps going up, supply is going down. And it's gotten to a point where, 4 years ago, we had, things sort of, gold, silver sort of flatline. They were going sideways and the U.S. was, public had lost interest, but China and Russia and India and Poland and Turkey, they were just stepping up and they're buying and buying and buying. So we got to a point where I think it was in April, gold started to really move up. And what happened was that the JP Morgan basically lost control of tamping down the prices and manipulating for gold. And gold it's a big market and there was just supply and demand was just too great. So gold went up a lot. And, everyone knows gold's up dramatically this year. So when we have silver, and silver is a smaller market, easier to manipulate, but now we're sort of getting signs that JP Morgan is losing control of silver as well.
So I was reading recently that Russia's actually putting silver now into their reserves.
That's true. Yeah, it's a huge deal. Along with gold, it's a key reserve. So on top of China and India scouring the world now for whatever silver they can get their hands on. And the bull market that we're now in for silver and gold is going to last much longer and go much higher than anybody can imagine. And it's important to keep that in mind as we go along here.
One of the things I've noticed is there's not much talk about the bull market in gold right now. It seems like financial news we also want to talk about is the strength of stocks, and all-time we're at 43,000 on the Dow, and the S&P is at 35% for this year. But they're not talking about gold and silver. There's been a huge migration of the metal from the west to the east. It looks like a setup from back in 1980. What are your thoughts on that?
This is going to be 70s on steroids. We in the 70s we had stagflation, which was high inflation, which is a stagnant economy. And now we're in the same position. However, this time around, the debt is dramatically worse. And the Asian countries, central banks and Russia, they're just buying gold and silver like there's no tomorrow. So it's even more dramatic than the 70s, which everybody knows was quite something with inflation and gold and silver. So hold on to your hats because this is going to be a big deal.
So the setup is looking like it could be pretty epic. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.
If you enjoyed today's Gold Spot, like or subscribe to both our YouTube and Rumble channels. Also, comment below if you have any questions or if you'd like to hear us talk about a specific topic in a future video.